Hey, Kate here. I wanted to jump on and talk to you guys about moving through discomfort. I had a bike wreck last Thursday. If you can't tell by my eyes, I had a nice swollen nose, and that's finally, my scab just came off yesterday, so I'm on the mend. But I also had a fall on my outstretched arm. As a physical therapist, that is something we try to teach people not to do, to make sure that when you fall on an outstretched arm that you relax your elbows and absorb the impact. And to be honest, I think I did it fairly well because I came away without any fractures. I do have a hairline fracture of my radial head. Saw a patient in the clinic actually last week that probably locked out harder than I did and did come away with actually a crushed radial head and a fracture of the distal humeral condyle. And so he was not so fortunate and required surgery and has a lot more swelling than I do. But you know, as I have been working on this process of healing and trying to get my motion back in my arm and my wrist, it's not comfortable, and I'm having to move through some pain. But as I was sharing with the client the other day, you know, pain is an indicator, right? Pain is something that serves to warn us, to tell us, wait a minute, don't go that way. Like, you know, it's something that we want to listen to. Our body sends messages, and it's imperative that we begin to listen to them. And so we're not talking about pushing so hard that we're ignoring those signs, right? Yet at the same time, we don't want the pain to let us stay in that place of comfort and resist forward motion, resist getting back to a place of healing. And so learning how to navigate the pain and begin to move gently through it so that we can get to the other side where we feel good again, and our motion is restored and our comfort is restored. Because what I see a lot of times is that when we resist movement, it creates more tension. It just escalates the pain cycle and causes loss of motion, which creates more pain. You know, if I wasn't moving this like I should be, I am going to start overusing my shoulder. I'm going to end up with shoulder problems. I'm going to be using strange patternings that are going to create more and more injury, frozen shoulders, tendinitis, all kinds of things, carpal tunnel, you name it. And so knowing that, we don't want to stay in that place of avoidance. We want to learn how to move through the pain in a way that promotes healing. So I want to show you what I'm doing to do that. And this lesson applies not only to physical pain, but emotional pain and things in our life where we want to just stay back in our comfort zone and avoid discomfort, right? But what's imperative is that we recognize that by doing so, we're creating more discomfort. It's imperative to recognize the signals that our body's telling us, but to begin to take steps to move forward and get to the other side where there's more freedom of motion. And so some of the things I've been doing this morning, this is what I was telling my husband, I'm meditating because this hurts so bad that I'm having to breathe while I do it. So there's discomfort here. It doesn't feel great. This is so much better than it was several days ago. I was like here probably last week or 5 days ago. And so every day I've just been slowly adding more and more motion, trying to relax and breathe through it to release the tension. Okay. And it hurts when I let go. Like it's not comfortable. And then I'm going into this stretch. Same thing. Lots of pressure inside the wrist and some discomfort, but just kind of going to the point of tolerance and then just breathing right here again. Letting go of the tension that's trying to come up. And it settles when I do that. Okay. And then it hurts when I come out and shaking it out. The other thing I'm doing is working on this motion. If you can see in my elbows, well, it's much better, but I still don't have the full motion of rotating out because that bone is attached right here. It's a rotating bone. So I'm just blocking my elbow and I'm just trying to work on that motion. It doesn't feel so good. When I hit that end range, it's wanting me to stop. So I'm not forcing it. I'm not pushing hard. I'm paying attention, but I'm working gently into it. Working gently into it. And breathing through it. You can see my hand's not wanting to rotate all the way over like it's supposed to. But we're getting there. Another stretch I started doing today was to get that hand on a wall. I'm getting a little bit of stretch on the wrist and the elbow, getting that nerve to glide through. One of the things that can happen if we're not getting range of motion is our nerve starts to get kind of trapped in the channel. That nerve runs all the way through my arm, and I don't want to create any neurological issues. So I'm giving it a good full stretch on that. Rotating my hand a little more now. Shaking it out, and I'm probably going to go ice after this. Yeah, and the other thing I'm doing is I'm walking. I'm letting that arm swing. As I'm walking, I'm doing my stretches, okay, rotating. And then once I get this motion back without pain, and I'll start the strengthening process. But I'm pretty pleased. Like, again, this happened last Thursday and today's Wednesday, so it hasn't been a full week, and I've probably restored at least 75%, if not 80% of my motion just by working through this process. I've had patients that don't go to PT right away and guard and hold and resist that pain, and I see them 3 months later, and it is a long process to restore their motion. And so early movement is, once you know that you don't have any unstable fractures, and then once you do, if they're reset, then we want to move again. But early motion is critical to healing. And just like, again, in life, we want to make sure that we're not avoiding things that are uncomfortable, that we're moving through the healing process to be able to come out healed on the other side. So just wanted to share that with you. Thanks.